Topic 4, of course, I'm here with Drew McMillan, Brock McLaughlin, and Josh Costin. We are talking about Injustice 2.
Yes.
Our review discussion is finally here.
It's the big one.
Of course, we had our reacts from the event, but now the game is in our hands. We've all played it. So, first of all, Josh, you're actually reviewing the game for Rockstar Games.
Yep.
So, what are you scoring? No, I'm just joking. Tell us sort of what you think about Injustice 2.
Well, I've been loving it so far. I mean, I've played all the Mortal Kombat games since the arcades growing up as a kid, but this has been kind of like my go-to every weekend since the original Injustice and since they kind of reworked Mortal Kombat with my friends every weekend, and it feels the exact same. I mean, if you've played the other ones, the combat system is identical. It's Mortal Kombat with DC characters. So,
Nice.
if you're into it, it's going to be a great game. You're going to have fun.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong with that formula.
No.
In particular. Like, and again, this one feels more Marvel versus Capcom-y, if that makes any sense, than the last one, I think. I don't know. It has more of that feel to it to me.
I don't know. To me, Marvel vs. Capcom, it always feels a little quicker. It feels a little more really arcadey style.
Yeah.
I don't know how to differentiate Mortal Kombat kind of thing.
I'm just sort of drawing from my experience of last time even playing Mortal Kombat X. It felt like a slower game than this does.
Yeah. But this brings back all the classic things. It's got sweeps, it's got uppercuts, it's got combos and that have similar kind of feels.
Juggling, I still can't figure out. I don't think I've ever landed a juggle.
Oh my God. Actually, fucking super cancels, I can't do.
Josh,
for me.
Are you the other person at this table who has finished the tutorial, or did you never finish the tutorial?
I did the tutorial because I was
High five!
I couldn't even beat the tutorial. It was too fucking hard.
I had to do the tutorial because I was waiting for it to download, and I still had like 8 hours until I could do the campaign or online. So I'm like, all right, I've only got the tutorial loaded. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
So
Brock and Drew once they got to the juggling sessions and move cancels.
It was just move cancels for whatever reason. For me specifically, move cancels I had a really hard time with. Everything else I was fine with. Obviously, some things are harder to pull off than others.
Did you go into the customs? There is a thing in the options where it's like release check for the special moves. Like it will not register until you take your finger off of the button, kind of thing. If you turn it off, it's like as soon as you do down forward circle, it will register the move. The other one, it won't do it until you release circle. It's really weird.
Okay, I'll have to look into that. The other thing too that Ryan suggested is the control input thing, where it turns everything to like quarter circles and half circles and stuff like that, as opposed to like instead of back forward, it's quarter circles. Yeah,
there's two things I flipped off in the options menu, and it was like the release check and whatever that one was.
Yeah, for sure. Like I know that really helped me out was the quarter circle moves, for example, because I'm such a Guilty Gear player and Marvel vs. Capcom player that it is tougher to go back to this type of style. Like with the double forwards or the double backs or whatever, or back forwards.
Oh, I can't do command grabs like the down, forward, back triangles like that. That's not.
Forget
happening.
about it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So first of all, let's start off with the story mode and sort of go around the room here. Brock, start us off. What did you think about the story mode? Or did you get a chance to play?
Yeah, I played it. I think it's really good. Like right off the bat, I mean, the story it's convoluted, but it's not as convoluted as it was in like the original. That story was bananas and so bizarre, but this one was pretty damn good, and I really like their version of Harley Quinn. I think she's awesome, and the fact that she works with Batman is super cool. I thought that was awesome, and pretty much everything about the story is really good and enjoyable. It's short. I haven't gone back and played because there are two paths. We won't spoil how that works, but there are two paths.
Yeah, that's the one thing I have yet to do is go back and play from the other perspective from that choice moment.
So I'm gonna do that still, which is cool. Yeah, but I've really enjoyed the game, and I don't really like fighter games at all. Mortal Kombat 10 was fine. Like it was cool to play with some friends, but this one I'm finding myself really playing by myself and really enjoying it. As well as the best thing I really like is. It's like Mortal Kombat had those towers.
The multiverse.
Yeah,
the multiverse.
I'm loving the multiverse missions.
They did that really well in this one, I think. I think the way they changed it up is great for even like casual players. If you're not like a huge fighter fan, like you even said, like you find yourself doing this. It's hats off to them for that one.
There's just so many features. I'm like really overwhelmed with what's going on. Like the menus aren't very easy to follow.
But once you get to know them, they're pretty intuitive at least.
There's a lot. Like mixing up your combat or your items and your armor and like there's just so much shit going on.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah, there's a ton of content in this game.
Yeah,
for sure.
a lot of content.
Drew, you pointed something out as soon as you started playing the story mode. What about them facial features?
Holy shit.
Those facial animations.
This game, I mean, it's like watching a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, it is, like, when we talked to Ed was like, this movie, like, or rather, the story is, like, very cinematic. It's like a movie. And I was like, oh, yeah, everybody fucking says that. This is like a fucking movie. Like, it plays out like that. I'm sure they're constantly doing convoluted stuff where they're getting characters together so that they have to fight.
Of course, it is a fighting game.
It is a fighting game. But it's really good. I feel like it combines some of the best qualities, and sure, there are a few of them, of the DC cinematic universe so far, as well with the best qualities of what are quite excellent and well regarded as the DC animated movies. It feels like it has a mind from both of those things. They looked at those things and said, like, what's the best stuff that we can borrow from these things?
Yeah.
So their interpretations of the characters are really cool. They put fun spins on things. Like, their Supergirl is really cool.
I
like
love
that
the Supergirl.
The whole like thing that she's like been sort of like growing up in sort of like isolation, and like Black Adam is an interesting character in this one. Wonder Woman is,
the way they talk about her, she seems to be like more like the bigger villain, just like the way she said, like, they kind of manipulated Superman and stuff. And I never thought about that in the
like
first one.
Really cold-hearted. The reality is, like, I mean, when you look at like Wonder Woman's backstory, she can go one of two ways, right? Like, she can either look at humanity and go like, oh, this is a problem I need to solve, or these are people I need to help, right? And it seems like that's the way that she went. And so all the characters are really interesting. Fuck, but it was beautiful. Like, it was stunning.
It's a goddamn gorgeous game.
And it's all in engine, right? Like, you're watching these cutscenes, they go smoothly and without any kind of like loading or jarring. You're just going from one thing to the next. The only time this game loads is when you die.
Yep.
Right.
And it does transition from like the actual cinematics directly into the battle scenes, like very nicely.
Yeah.
Almost like perfectly. And of course the facial features and like the animations and stuff are like identical when you are playing the game to the cinematics too. So it doesn't feel jarring or anything like that at all.
It's so lifelike. It reminded me a lot of, it looked like someone took what they did for LA Noire and just like cranked it to 11. LA Noire was all about like, my understanding was it was all about like texture mapping and stuff like that. So this one, you could tell they seem to be combining like the best of that with like their meshes and stuff like that, and just having what I'm guessing is really good facial mocap and stuff like that, because it looks so fucking good. It makes you care about these characters a lot more when they feel that much more real, and they go through really cool and interesting stuff.
Yeah, so. For me, I think it's one of the strongest fighting game campaigns I've ever played. I mean, the only one that I think that rivals it is Guilty Gear Exert Sign is a really good one, because it is a visual novel, but it's also a really good visual novel, so I think that it stands up. Like, that's the closest comparison I can find, whereas most other fighting game campaigns, let's face it, are mostly throwaway. Like, you don't really care about them. This makes you really care about them.
Yeah, don't forget about Street Fighter's story mode. That was a good one.
The one that
didn't exist until after the game came out.
It didn't launch with the game.
DLC.
Yeah,
a lot of times the story mode is a really huge afterthought, and you can tell that they really put a lot of effort into it. And it does the right thing. It pulls you in, right? It gets you to experience all of the characters. It gets you to play as a bunch of different characters. But at the same time, if you start feeling comfortable with a character, it lets you lean on that character a little bit more for certain parts of the game.
Yeah,
I did like that, because they didn't have that option in the past one or like the Mortal Kombat series, because that's kind of how they started off with when they rebooted it with the story into playing all the characters throughout.
Oftentimes you'll be in situations where you've got heroes in pairs, and for each... And you'll be in sort of like a locale for a period of time, and for each of those locales, you'll get a chance to choose between those two heroes. So if you decide you like one, I always tried to play as either or, and then decided which one between the two of them. So by the time I went to the third or the fourth fight, I really knew which one I liked the most.
Yeah.
So,
and the cool thing about that too, I've actually lost a fight when I had picked one character. If you pick the other one, like, it actually transitions to the fight completely differently, and there's different dialogue and stuff like that, which I thought was a really nice touch.
Yeah, and there's like trophies and stuff tied with if you go back and play with all of the characters that you didn't play with who make different choices.
Well, that's actually how you unlock the alternate ending, is that you have to actually go back and actually play as all the other characters you didn't play as before you can actually go down the second path.
right? Which is really cool.
Yeah, the fact that they even thought of doing that is just incredible. And
they did a really great job of making Brainiac a really cool villain in this. You know, he's scary as hell. He's really tough. He's really hard. He does like cold, heartless, just brutal shit.
Yep.
You know, it was really great. I really enjoyed that story. It was really phenomenal.
Yeah. The only character or villain I should say that it was kind of disappointing was the Joker. I didn't really like their interpretation of Joker in this, even though he's dead. So I mean, in theory, he really doesn't exist in the story anyways. But like, I don't really like their interpretation of Joker. Their interpretation of him is basically just scary dude with a knife.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the whole thing? Wasn't it just a scary guy with a knife?
I know, but
the Joker?
I mean, he's even when he talks, he's not really like, he's not entertaining at all. He's not Mark Hamill, for example.
Right.
Is it Hamill voicing him? It sounds like Hamill a little bit.
It's a Hamill sound alike.
It's someone doing Hamill.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the Joker in this story is, and Kotaku wrote a really interesting article about it, is basically they gave Harley the moment she should have had in Suicide Squad. Like the Harley in this game is the Harley that should exist in Suicide Squad, but instead they like
the one who's like stood up to Joker and like got past his like abusive.
Yeah, the notion of like that. Yeah, like she sees his pattern of like narcissistic abuse and like and as a character grows past it and doesn't become attached to him anymore. But yeah, they did that. That's something. It was really great how they did that. They had that moment. I kind of felt like they watched Suicide Squad and went, you know what they should have done? Let's put that in our video.
They didn't have enough time to fix everything with the movie, but they did the one part.
Yeah.
But no, I like how they introduced them, kind of thing. Like the way they went about setting up that moment was also like really cleverly done, kind of thing too.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. I also liked how it just felt like playing a DC movie, like an animated movie, because I mean,
animated movie.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the good ones, the live action.
No, the good ones. I mean, even playing like I don't know, like any of those Justice League movies. That's sort of what this felt like, and it was cool that they had most of the voice actors from the DC animated movies to reprise the roles in this. Like I thought it really led sort of to the authenticity, kind of like Injustice 1 did the same thing as well. But it definitely helped with the story mode. So let's quickly talk about online multiplayer or just multiplayer in general. I know you've been playing online, so why don't you start us off, Josh?
I've played a few matches online. I haven't done too much, but I'm actually really impressed with the loading times too. When you're like when you're connecting to like another player, not just doing the multiverse stuff. It's like I want to say under a minute sometimes. Like it's really quickly.
Sometimes it finds an opponent in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and then when you're actually doing the connecting after you've picked your characters and loading into the match, it's like snap your rating.
It's a lot longer for me on Xbox.
I'm so sorry, Brock.
I'm speaking from the PS4 point of view. So yeah, it's very quick on the PS4, and I was actually really surprised with how fast it was going.
Yeah, and not only that, like no connection issues. At least I didn't run into any either.
No,
which was nice.
I usually did like a best 2 out of 3 with whoever I was playing with, kind of thing, and I didn't notice any like lag in between moves or anything like that. And like even when I was losing, I wasn't blaming lag. So
and that's what
that's a good sign.
That's what a lot of online fighters really struggle with. Like they either you have the disconnect problem or there's just lag inputting your like on inputting.
Yeah, like
it just becomes a big problem.
Yeah, and I know that NetherRealm has sort of had problems with that in the past, and so in so much that it is a thing that they've taken on. You know, the fighting game community. It's a huge issue for them, right? It always has been. Like, how do you deal with multiplayer lag to the point where like there's very specific interpretations of like frame stuff, and you know, like it's a really tricky thing to do. So to hear that it's really smooth and a really fun experience is awesome.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it online.
Yeah.
Same, especially even day one, because that's when you would expect like the servers crack.
Got it,
yeah. Like there were a ton of people on and no issues, no lag, no disconnects, which is just perfect. That's exactly how you want an online fighter to be.
Yeah,
so
definitely thumbs up online launch day for a fighter.
Yeah,
it's very rare that happens.
For sure. So again, let's talk about the multiverse mode because we talked about it a little bit before. The multiverse mode, of course, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you don't know how that works, essentially you're because the DC universe obviously works in multiple universes. You will go into the multiverse mode and you'll have 5 or 6 different realities to work with, and they all have different missions associated with them, and they basically work like the tower mode from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there are modifiers applied to each of the quote unquote towers.
Yeah,
and to each of the challenges. So like some of the ones I've seen so far are this one's called like slow start, where like at the beginning when your health is high, you move slower. which is interesting because if you're both, if at the very, very start of the fight, if it's one-sided, it's sort of like, that person starts moving faster, your opponent starts moving faster, and it makes it a really interesting challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas other ones, you'll get to call in support characters. Like you'll have like a character like Cheetah, for example, who if you press a button input, they'll come in and do a move to sort of distract your opponent or whatever like that.
They do also have some where it's like assist characters where they're not actually in the game. Like I've had Constantine as an assist.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
I have not seen that.
Constantine, El Diablo, I've had Raven.
Jesus.
But they don't come in like when you have like Swamp Thing or something, but they just do a special move and blast it across the screen.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
It's pretty
cool.
cool. So I'm like hoping, well, that's kind of interesting.
Fuck, I love Constantine in this game.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's one of those shadows for the silhouettes in the DLC, but
Same with Raven. I really hope that that's a character to come back as
I
well.
liked her in Injustice, yeah.
Oh, just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a few characters I've never seen before in this game.
Oh, that's right.
They did some deep pulls
Yeah.
and stuff. Like I was impressed with the roster for this.
Yeah, we got a Red Lantern. We got the leader of the Red Lantern is Atrocitus, throwing up his blood all over everybody.
Yeah.
With his little buddy Dexter, who is also
Rage Kitty.
Yeah. I did a little bit of reading about Dexter. So Dexter was a kitten named Dexter who was like abused.
Yeah.
And so he's the Red Lantern for Earth.
He's
And
got like all this rage in his little kitty body.
yeah, he's hilarious. But like Brock, you were asking me about Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
God,
that was Blue Beetle.
Okay, so Blue Beetle is an interesting character, and I told you because you're watching Young Justice right now, right?
That's a good way to kind of get introduced to.
Yeah, if you watch the second season of Young Justice, you'll get a lot of Blue Beetle. He's a cool character. My biggest problem is that his power set is almost identical to their interpretation of Cyborg. Because you can have Cyborg in Cyborg has different origin stories. The current one they're going off of is the one that's kind of like the DC extended universe, and that is that he got his powers from a mother box, which is like an alien supercomputer,
dark side tech kind of thing.
Apocalypse tech. So the mother box has fused with him, and mother boxes can take different shapes and different forms and stuff like that. So his arm can turn into a gun or whatever he happens to need. He's like a Swiss Army knife, right? Blue Beetle is the whole thing. Is it's an alien piece of technology that gives him power armor that shapeshifts into whatever he needs. So they end up having two very similar sets of powers. They're both shape-shifting power armor dudes. And so, you've got guys, you got Blue Beetle, and he puts his two arms together and it forms into a big gun and he shoots it. And then you've got Cyborg doing the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because now that I think about it, they are kind of identical. The only thing really differentiating Blue Beetle is the fact that the Beetle's sentient kind of thing, right?
Yes.
The
Beetle wants him to do things and stuff like that. Versus, the Mother Box has its own sort of intelligence too. Yeah. Because the Mother Boxes are AIs, right? So, yeah, it's kind of weird. Basically, one is like a young, naive kid, and the other is Cyborg is supposed to be sort of very. He's supposed to be older, and he's supposed to be a little bit more world weary and skeptical and stuff like that. So,
now those two characters that are locked, do either of you have them?
I know one's Darkseid.
One's Darkseid.
One's Darkseid.
One was a pre-order bonus.
Oh.
And
the other, the only other one,
Brainiac,
the only one is Brainiac,
yeah.
and you have to beat the story.
Right,
Yeah.
But you can get Darkseid though. Still,
you can
get him individually.
You can pay $8.
Yeah, you can pay money. Can you use in-game currency too?
No, I don't think so.
No.
But you can use them in one of the multiverse things right now. Actually,
Okay.
They're doing the Mortal Kombat thing, which is
OP.
nice.
Yeah,
he's so OP.
Yeah, I've heard he's pretty. He's got the power of the Omega beams.
I've played a few people online with who played as Darkseid, and I just got totally wrecked.
I have no idea where to guard where those things are coming from. It's ridiculous.
Especially because he just teleports everywhere too, which doesn't help.
Yeah, he can teleport, and he's got eye lasers that take up the whole fucking screen.
Yeah,
he's not fun to play against.
Yeah. So the last sort of thing I wanted to touch on before we sort of move to what we think about the game as a final wrap up is the gear system. They made a big deal about sort of the gear system, how it would impact things, and sort of the character leveling thing. I am finding a bit of a difference, but it's not as big of a difference as we were sort of told on the outset. But what do you guys think of how the gear system works in this game?
Well, it kind of depends on if I'm playing with like my level 1 Robin and then the person picks like their level 20 Cheetah, I do notice a significant difference in like the amount of damage that they're putting out and my lower health kind of thing. But if you're facing somebody who's level 20 and you're level 20, it's more or less, doesn't feel like it's one-sided or anything. Like, I mean, you've both got higher health, you've both got higher strength, so you're kind of evens out.
That's true, and that's the thing. When you play ranked matches on multiplayer, we should point out that the gear doesn't affect it.
At all. It's off anyway. So
it's only when you play player matches or when you do multiverse stuff. But even when you play multiverse stuff, and maybe that's where my sort of complaint comes in, is that when you do multiverse stuff, a lot of times you get paired up with people at the same level, and then what gear you use doesn't really. I don't find it makes a big difference, which is sort of my sort of overall complaint. And maybe it's not until you start fighting level 20 characters and that's where sort of the big difference between gear levels sort of comes in. But for right now, like, I'm not really finding a big difference with that. So
no, I'm too casual to even notice a difference. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So let's sort of wrap up our discussion of Injustice 2, Unjustice 2. It's been a long day.
Unjustice 2.
So we're gonna go around the room. We're gonna start with you, Drew, and then Brock, and then Josh, and then myself. Just your overall thoughts, and if you have a score to assign to this. Drew, we'll start with you.
I think it's a great game. It's probably one of the better fighting game experiences I've had in a really long time. It's also one of the better sort of DC games that have come out, like, ever. It does so many things well. It has problems. It's a really fucking hard game. This is not an easy game to master, and
really hard.
And you get thrown in there with the mix of when you're playing people who have been playing DC fighting games for a really long time,
or just Mortal Kombat,
So like either you've got people who stuck with Injustice, or people who've been playing Mortal Kombat for years and sort of followed along with how they've made changes and stuff like that. That makes that player base, it makes it hard to come in. I really like the gear, if not just for like cosmetic stuff. Like, it's really cool because you can make your characters look really different, and then also like the as well as the shaders that are in them as well. So you can, if you really want to try to like kit out your Yellow Lantern so he looks as Yellow Lantern-y as you imagine he would, you can do that, right? If you want to try to make your Hal Jordan look like a badass Blue Lantern, you can do that.
Yep.
If you can't tell, I really like the emotional spectrum.
Yeah,
there is actually a Blue Lantern chest and like Pink Lantern chest that you can get with the core symbols on them. I've seen them,
which is really, I think is really cool. Yeah. So you get like Star Sapphires and like Indigo Tribe and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. Like my Batman right now, I went out and I used the in-game currency to buy the Batman Beyond color scheme for him.
What was that awful Batman outfit that he's wearing at the beginning of the story? It's so brutal.
Like when they do the like 5 years ago thing?
When he's coming in the plane with Robin and Robin.
Right at the start.
It's so ugly.
I'm gonna have to play the starting one.
It's the tutorial one. It's brutal.
I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
It looked too tight on his head.
It's the prefix in the gear system, too tight cowl.
And what goes along with that too, though, is Brock, you're sort of hinting at it here, but what goes along with that, it's really easy to make guys kind of look goofy if you go, if you make certain decisions. So I don't love that it's primarily loot box based. I mean, that's going to happen, but what can you do?
Yeah, it's very much the Overwatch model where you basically earn loot boxes and they reward you with gear.
But at least they're really generous with them. Like you unlock them
if you do the story, you get a ton of them.
Yeah. And to be completely honest, like the bronze boxes are 1,000 credits, and I'm getting legendaries out of those way more often than I am at spending 25,000 credits for one gold box, and you get like 6 blues.
Because it seems to me that those, other than the two you can't buy, the diamond and the platinum, only really affect the amount of items.
Yeah, it's literally just random.
Not the chance.
Like I'm getting a lot of epics from bronze boxes. So
I'm getting a lot of epics from Multiverse.
Yeah, just dropping and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you earn them in battle and other.
The multiverse mode is really exceptional. I really enjoyed it. If I were to give it a score out of, let's say,
100,
at this point, I would probably give it a 90. I feel like it's it's a solid 90 at this point.
Sweet. Brock?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I compared to like Forza, because I don't like racing games and I don't like fighting games very much, and like, but it just blows me away. Like, it's like a really casual game, but it is extremely hard. Like, I'm playing on easy and still losing all the time.
Yeah,
but thankfully it gives you experience and stuff even when you lose. So that helps.
Not only that, but the more you lose battles, the AI actually tones itself down.
Yeah.
So if, for example, you are really struggling, you can sort of even die on purpose. And then
every time I get like faced with a Superman, I lose like 4 times, and like usually by the 5th time, I'm like, okay, I kind of got this.
Yeah.
No, there's so much to do. There's so much variety. Really, really digging it. I like all the new costumes and stuff, like Reverse Flash and Captain Cold.
We didn't talk about
Freeze.
that, because there are premium costumes, and the premium costumes not only change your look, they also change your nameplate. They change the character completely to a different character. They even have different voices, which is amazing.
Have you found any others? I know we found Captain
Cold. There's Power Girl.
I have Vixen as well.
Yep, Vixen is for Cheetah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's the other Green Lantern. I don't remember his name.
John Stewart.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then Reverse Flash is one of them.
Yeah.
Jay Garrick is also up now on the store, as well as Mr. Freeze for Captain Cold.
Right.
Yeah. Jay Garrick is the Golden Age Flash, the one with like the World War I style military helmet with the wings on it.
Yeah. And if you have the Ultimate Edition, you get some of those already unlocked, but otherwise you can just buy them all within currency.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. There's even, I think the Green Lantern one, all you have to do is link the mobile version of Injustice to the game. And it just unlocks.
Cyborg Grid.
It's Cyborg.
Cyborg.
Grid.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm still trying to find a hood for Arrow because I can't stand what he looks like.
You and everybody on
he's
Reddit.
So really? He's so ugly. He looks so stupid.
He's very Ollie from the comic books.
Yeah.
Like with like all he always had like the very like his blonde hair is like the blonde mustache with the soul badge. Yeah. So he kind of looks like he was patterned after like Robin Hood back in the old days, right? He kind of had that kind of vibe to him. I think they went for that a little bit in this one as well.
He's super cheesy looking. I really want to find a hood, but I haven't found anything for him yet.
I got to tell you that Dr. Fate, when he takes his helmet off, that guy's ugly as sin.
Dr. Fate is awesome.
He's my
go-to
character. He's one of my favorite characters in the DC universe.
He's so
I was
cool.
disappointed with how he was used in the story, actually.
Yeah.
Him and Swamp Thing, I think, were very underused, and that's a big complaint of mine in the main story with that.
Yeah.
You also never got to play as them either.
No. Dr. Fate is normally such a badass, but in the story...
He's all evil and he talks like this.
Yeah, I really hope they do like a story DLC for this. That would be really cool if they did if they did like a Justice League Dark kind of thing. Which is like Justice League Dark is like all like the supernatural. There we go. There's a copy of the DVD right there.
Yep.
Is all the supernatural characters. So like if they did like a pack where like you got like like Constantine is a playable character, maybe like Deadman, and then add that and like Zatara or something.
And they already have her moveset kind of thing in the character model from the last one.
Just like MKX did that with a few characters as well, like Baraka and some other ones.
Yeah.
And some of them got added later and some of them didn't.
Yeah.
So, Josh, final thoughts?
Obviously love the game. I mean, I'm not going to give it a score, but if I had to give
You're also still writing a review too. So.
But I'll give you a little sneak peek. If I had to give it something out of 10, I'd give it a go buy it. If you like, go buy it.
That's fine.
Go buy it out of 10.
We'll pull the Metacritic thing and just assume that's a 9.
Yeah. But yeah, like you were saying, it is a little difficult if you're not necessarily a big fighter person. It does have a pretty steep learning curve.
It eases you in, though.
I think it also has a pretty solid tutorial system. Like, it does give you everything kind of like right up there on the screen. It does give you the ability to like tag combos too, so even when you're not in practice, you can still see them, which I think helps.
They also do something neat too that we didn't touch on when talking about the tutorial, is there's one for every character.
Yes.
And it sort of teaches you sort of each character's ins and outs, what situations they're best in and what they're worst in.
Yeah, and actually another thing that they added that I liked is that you can kind of make an AI loadout for your characters, and I actually did that with my Scarecrow. That's how we got from 19 to 20 before I came here. As I was putting on my pants, I set him through the ladder just on AI, and it's actually really cool to see what moves can kind of connect with it too. Like that's a really good way, I think, to learn a character as well. Like you see,
or even to test gear.
When you do the AI mode, is that when you send off like 3 different characters?
No, like you can go into the multiverse and you can pick anything, but when you push a square over your character, you can pick like which loadout you want. There's 2 that you can set for AI, and it'll just go through and the computer will play your character kind of thing. It's a really cool way to kind of like learn to see what the character can actually do.
But the AI Battle Simulator works the same way too, where you can use it to attack other players' teams of 3 and then basically have them set up that way too, where the computer battles it out. So again, it's a good way of being able to watch sort of how the computer approaches that, and then sort of you taking those lessons and then applying them to you playing as those characters. Very similar to Disney Afternoon Collection about watching people's speed runs and then sort of taking the lessons you learn from that and then bringing them into your own game and approaching those games better. So I think that actually.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna try that when I get home.
Yeah, that's also it. Also levels your characters while you're not at home because basically people will attack your characters essentially.
But that's for like the mobile thing though. I think though, right? Like
no, it works in both.
Yeah, you can do both.
Yeah, because that's how I've leveled some characters. Because I put in the characters that I put are on my bubble that I'm not really playing as, but I think it would be nice for me to level. So I put them through the AI simulator, and then people will just attack them while I'm not at home. And then they'll level.
You have to push X in between the battles.
That's only if you're attacking.
I'm really confused at what mode you're playing
you can,
right now.
In AI Battle Simulator, you can set your...
the tower where you get the arcade story endings kind of thing.
No, it's a different mode.
Endless
it's in multiplayer. Yeah. In multiplayer, you can set your team of 3.
See what I mean? There's a lot of menus.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit.
There's a lot of stuff.
I didn't think that there'd be like an AI loadout thing for multiplayer.
Because it's for local multiplayer, but this mode in particular works for online as well. Where if you can assign your team of 3 defenders that anyone can sort of attack while you are away from your console, and those 3 characters will level every time they get battled by another person.
So would you you be holding the controller? Be battling like my AI people, or would it be your AI?
My AI versus your AI.
Okay, that seems more fair now.
Yeah. No.
I was gonna say because the AI is painfully good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's fair for the AI.
Yeah,
in the sense that the AI does that. But yeah, that's also another reason why the AI loadouts exist, because they exist for that mode too. But my characters are leveling now, even though I'm not at home.
I had no idea that mode existed.
All right. So, sort of concluding thoughts for me as well. Again, just to touch on a lot of the stuff you guys said. I mean, it's one of the most fully featured fighting games I've played in a long time. I guess usually I'm the fighting game person of the group, and even then, I mostly play anime fighters. Anyways, that's sort of my jam. But playing this, I mean, I loved it. I'm not even a huge DC fan. Again, I've always been more the Marvel person. I don't know a lot of the DC characters the way you guys do, but at the same time, I really got pulled into the story. I was telling Drew the day after we started playing it, I started playing the story and then 5 hours just flew by because the game doesn't really, there's no breaks unless you pause it. So
I was going to say I did the story in one fell swoop kind of thing.
I almost did the whole thing. I got to chapter 12 or whatever, 14, and then stopped. But yeah, overall, I've loved my experience with Injustice 2. It's a game I can see myself going back and continuing to play, because even just grinding the multiverse mode and then playing your characters that way and then taking your gear upgrades, going on to online and playing people, it's a ton of fun. So honestly, I mean, I'm actually the same rating as you, Drew. I still give it a 9. I think all across the board, we're extremely positive on this.
For sure.
That's the big That's sort of the big takeaway from this.
I mean, if anything, this just gets me excited for what the next Mortal Kombat game is going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
This will be my fighting game until another Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think it's a great game for people who are fighting game fans, but even just people who are fans of DC, I think will get some enjoyment out of this.
Oh yeah,
because they're even if you don't feel like going online and playing that way, I think there's a ton of stuff just to play by yourself. If that's sort of your jam, if you don't want to interact with other players, there's still a lot to do for those people as well. Which is why I think it gives it over the edge of something like Street Fighter V, for example, which doesn't have a ton to do unless you're battling other players online.
It had nothing to do.
Well, I mean, post-launch.
Right.
Yeah, Street Fighter V now, I don't think is as solid of a product as this, and that says a lot because Street Fighter V is still revered as a quality product. So, viewers or listeners at home, let us know what you think about Injustice 2. Again, if you have any questions for us about Injustice 2, just hit us up. We've all been playing it, and playing a lot of it by the sounds of it. So hit us up at gamemoosecast@gmail.com. That's gamemoosecast@gmail.com. You also find us on Twitter at game_moose_cast, on Facebook at facebook.com/gamemoosepodcast, and as well just Instagram. Just search for Game Moose. Just comes up right away.